The desert storm had come without warning, rolling in like a living beast, swallowing the sky with black clouds and striking the earth with lightning so bright it painted the canyon walls in ghost-white flashes. Caleb Morgan had been riding hard across the mesa, trying to reach the mining town of Red Hollow before nightfall. He'd learned long ago that the desert at night didn't care whether you were a lawman, a ranch hand, or just another lost soul, it consumed the careless equally. But the storm didn't care either. The wind whipped so fiercely it felt like claws dragging across his face. Dust rose in choking waves. His horse, a loyal bay mare named Dusty, snorted anxiously, hooves slipping on the wet sandstone. "Easy, girl," Caleb murmured, patting her neck. "Just a little further." But fate had different plans. When the rain finally fell, it came like a flood. The ground softened beneath Dusty's weight, and before Caleb understood what was happening, the earth at the mesa's edge crumbled. Horse and rider plunged downward. The world turned upside down. Hooves, rocks, air, darkness, and his body slammed against something hard. There was a crack, then silence. When Caleb opened his eyes again, he was lying at the bottom of a ravine, pain pulsing deep in his ribs. Dusty lay a few feet away, stunned but breathing. He tried to push himself upright but collapsed with a groan. "Well," he rasped, "this ain't how I planned the night." Above him, the sky had cleared, revealing streaks of starlight. Every sound echoed strangely in the ravine: dripping water, shifting stones, the soft groan of his injured horse. Caleb knew he wouldn't last long. The desert was cold, and the climb out of the ravine was impossible in his state. Wolves sometimes came this far south. The thought of being eaten while helpless made his stomach tighten. He was drifting in and out of consciousness when he heard soft footsteps. More than one, then hushed voices. Low, melodic, speaking Apache. His heart stuttered. Apache territory. The stories he'd heard weren't kind. Settlers whispered of raids. Soldiers spoke of ambushes. But Caleb, a rancher's son who had more sense than pride, knew most tales were twisted by fear. Still, fear crept through him when silhouettes appeared above the ravine, dark figures outlined by moonlight. Bows, spears, rifles, warriors. Then one figure stepped forward. Smaller, older, leaning on a carved walking stick. Her braided gray hair glinted silver in the night wind. Her presence alone hushed the warriors behind her. The Apache matriarch, Nich Hayan. Caleb had heard whispers of her name in frontier towns, stories of a woman known for her wisdom, stern judgment, and uncommon restraint. Some said she had negotiated peace between rival bands. Others claimed she had stared down a cavalry captain until he lowered his gun. A few insisted she could see into the hearts of men. Her eyes now looked down into the ravine, sharp as obsidian. "White man," she said calmly in accented English. "You live." Caleb swallowed hard. For the moment, she tapped her staff against the ground, and two young Apache warriors moved to descend into the ravine. Caleb tried to shift away, but his battered body refused to cooperate. Don't kill the horse," he gasped. The matriarch's eyes flicked to Dusty, then back to him. "We do not kill what suffers without cause." Relief washed through him. The warriors reached him, lifting him with surprising gentleness. He hissed in pain, but they worked quickly, binding his ribs with cloth and supporting him upright. Dusty was coaxed to her feet and guided up the slope with skill that impressed Caleb even through his delirium. When they finally reached the top, Nich Hayan approached him, studying him closely. Up close, her face bore deep lines carved by sun, responsibility, and decades of leadership. "You fell," she said simply. "Yes, ma'am," Caleb croaked. "You would have died if we left you." He found her bluntness oddly comforting. "Then I owe you my life." Nich Hayan didn't smile, but something softened in her gaze, something ancient, evaluating, as if she was searching for something in him. "Come," she ordered. "We take you to our camp. You will be tended." Caleb blinked. "You're helping me?" She raised an eyebrow. "Should we leave a man to die because he is not one of our own?" Caleb opened his mouth, but no words came. Her logic pierced him deeper than any spear. The Apache camp sat nestled between red cliffs and towering pines, its fires glowing like scattered stars. Children peeked from behind their mothers, curious about the battered outsider. Warriors watched him with silent suspicion, their hands never far from their weapons. But the matriarch's presence was enough to keep them at ease. Caleb was led to a lodge of tanned hides stretched over wooden poles. Inside, herbs hung from strings, filling the air with sharp, earthy fragrance. A young woman named Ken attended to his wounds, grinding roots into paste and binding his cuts. She worked without fear, without disgust, just practiced care. "You were lucky grandmother found you," she said quietly. "Many would have left you for the night spirits." Caleb managed a weak chuckle. "I always figured I had stubborn luck." Days passed as he healed. The Apache children watched him from afar, whispering. Some of the young warriors regarded him with suspicion, but none challenged the matriarch's decision. Caleb learned that Nichaean commanded absolute respect, not through force, but through wisdom earned over many seasons. One evening, she visited him as he sat by the fire, sipping broth. "You are a horseman," she said without preamble. "Yes, ma'am, since I was tall enough to climb a fence." "Your body was broken," she added, "but your spirit was not." Caleb blinked, unsure how she knew. "Just stubborn, I suppose." "I see more than stubbornness." Her eyes glinted in the firelight. "I see a man who has known loss. A man who carries guilt. A man running from something." His breath caught. "How?" She tapped her staff once. "When you have lived as many winters as I have, you learn to read a man's heart." Caleb swallowed hard, unsure whether he felt exposed or understood. "You saved my life," he finally murmured. "No," she said softly. "Fate brought you to me. I only followed its path." She turned to leave but paused. "I did not bring you here by accident, Caleb Morgan." He stiffened. "What do you mean?" The fire crackled between them, sending sparks spinning upward like tiny spirits. "My young warriors," she said, "need guidance in ways not of our people. They must learn the world beyond our canyons, the horses, the rifles, the discipline of the white man. You know these things. You know them well." Caleb stared at her, stunned. "You want me to teach them?" "I want," she corrected, "to see whether the man fate delivered to my feet is willing to help the future of my people." Caleb felt the weight of her words settle like a mountain upon his shoulders. He realized then that this was no simple rescue. The matriarch had plans for him. Plans he could not yet understand. Plans that would change everything.